Hey YouTube, what's going on? It's Adam here with Retro Repairs, and I've got another repair video here that I'm going to share with you. So here I have a Nintendo 2DS. This was the one I recently picked up off eBay for about, I think it cost me about $8 or $9. It was sold as not working, and we're going to try and figure out why. So what I've done here, I've plugged it into power, and you see there's no charging light, so nothing there. When I hold down power, I get nothing. So it looks to me like it's not getting any type of charge or no power, or the power circuit is defective somehow. So what we're going to do is open it up. I'm going to show you how to open it up, access the battery, and test a couple of things to see what could be at fault here. So first of all, I want to kind of take a look at the condition of this thing. So overall, I mean, it's hard for you to pick up on the camera, but I'm looking at the screen trying to get the light glare on it, and then I don't see any notable cracks on the screen. You can do that in person by kind of just looking at it at this kind of angle and looking along the screen to make sure there's no notable cracks. Second thing though, there is a pretty cracked up corner of the housing here, which tells me it's been dropped at least. So that could be one of the things. It may have simply jarred one of the connectors loose, and that's why it's not getting any read from a battery or anything like that. So only one way really to figure out what's wrong with it, and that's to open it up. So to open it up, you need a precision crosshead screwdriver set. So the first one, we have to open these two screws right here. And this is what holds on the battery cover. So if I just unscrew those two, they're not going to come completely out, but you just want to loosen them enough. So those are loose, and at the top there's a little notch. You can get your fingernail under here. Put your finger under there and this cover will come right off. And here we have the battery. So first thing that I'm going to do is test with another battery. It's possible just this battery is no good. I have another water damaged 2DS that I'm just harvesting the battery off of. So this is the one from the blue one, and this is the one from the other 2DS I have, which is red. So I'm going to set the blue one aside, and we're going to test this particular one and see if it happens to make any type of difference. So put in the new battery. This battery, unsurprisingly, is not charged, I would assume. Yeah, hold down power and nothing. So let's plug it in and see if maybe that's all it needs was a new battery. Plug in and still nothing. Wiggle that around just to make sure, but still not getting anything here. Okay, so more than just the battery needs replacing. So we dive a little bit further. I'm going to show you how to open up the rest of this. So in order to open up the back shell of this, there are 8 small precision screws. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe 10, sorry. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So we have to remove those 10 screws. So I'm going to get that done, and I'll be back once they're out. Okay, so with those screws removed, put them aside somewhere that you're not going to lose them. They are very small, and if they bounce on the floor, you're probably not going to find them back. So this back part should just peel off, and a couple of these screws, they didn't come right out, so yeah, that one's still attached. So let's try and get in there a little bit and lift it out. There we go. That should almost do it. There we go. So this back part will come right off, but be careful about this ribbon connector. So when you open it, there's a connector right here that you have to be careful to remove. So we just lift up this little lock mechanism right in place here. So let's zoom in. So you lift this up and you can slide that right out. I'm just getting those screws out of there. There's one. So immediately first thing I notice is this has popped loose. So it's possible that this was shorting something inside and caused damage to the board. It's also possible that because of that this board is permanently damaged, but we're gonna have to find out really. So taking the sides off, a couple things I note, there's a piece of blue plastic that was floating around in there, so that's something that was damaged. these side bumpers are held in place with a little metal pin like this, and that immediately kind of fell out. So I think that something cracked on one of these side pieces, but we're going to keep all those parts, put them aside, and hopefully it can be repaired. So power switch, again, making sure you don't lose that. Put those aside, this metal pin from there. See if there's anything else that was kind of floating in there. So we've got a couple of pieces, a little black post, that again put aside, a little piece of blue, and one of the screws that I had dropped. So other than that, let's make sure that was all that was sitting there. Cool. So we're gonna lift these bumpers out. There's a spring on each of these bumper buttons, so make sure that doesn't go flying somewhere. And again, put that aside. So a couple of things we want to look at. First, this is where the battery hooks up. Just inspect it, make sure that it's not loose or anything like that, which would be causing an issue with connectivity. A couple other things to check out. Right here is a litmus strip, and this same thing kind of exists on cell phones. This will tell you if there's moisture damage. You get that wet, it turns red or purple, and that indicates that this came in contact with water. First thing I notice right here, this ribbon connector is damaged. Let's see if we can zoom in enough. There you go. So it's possible that this is why it's not connecting. However, we're going to try just open these little locks, pull out the ribbon connector, push it back into place, and close it again just to see if maybe that's going to help with getting the power going. Sometimes these do lose their connection, especially if it's been dropped or damaged. All right, this part, this is just RF shielding, but it's used to cover, I think, right here. It goes on top of the processor. Since it's missing, I mean, it doesn't have a functional purpose, but we obviously want to make sure that it didn't damage any of these components. And you see how small all these parts are? It's nearly impossible to tell if something's severely damaged or not. So it's going to be difficult to see what it is exactly that could be damaged. My guess, though, is it might have something to do with this ribbon connector. You can see the bit of a tear in the corner right here, and that's cutting out a couple data lines up here. So we'll try plug it in, see if we get anything from it, but personally I'm not terribly optimistic about this. So let's zoom out for you. Plug in. Okay, so still no charging light. Let's hold down the power. Nothing. All right, so let's dive a little bit deeper. So what we're going to do is completely remove this board from the assembly and see if maybe I can borrow, if there's a way to get this ribbon connector out of my liquid damaged one and into here, I might still be able to repair this. So let's see what we can do. In order to remove this board, you need to remove all the screws holding down the board. So there's one there, there, here. Gotta get rid of this joystick. Basically, all the screws you can see, we're gonna remove those. So I'm gonna do that right now. Okay, so we've gotten all the screws out. Now I'm going to attempt to remove this board. So a couple things first. There's a few ribbon connectors down at the bottom here. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So those 6 need to be gently removed before you start lifting the board up. So all of these have little lock installed on them. So all you need is, you can use your fingernail or a small precision bit, but you're just gonna flip these locks up. Let's see if I can catch this one on camera. There we go. Comes up from the back just like that. Are we able to zoom in any more? So you flip it up, and then you should be able to pull this connector out, just like so. Same thing over here. Gotta figure out how this one comes out though. Yep, lift it up from the back. Pull the connector out. Lift it up from the back, connector out. From the back, connector out. And then these ones lifted up from the front, connector comes out. So I think that's all that's holding this board in. We're going to lightly try to pull it off. And if you feel much resistance, just stop. So I think this blue plastic part up at the top has to come out first. So 2 screws on the corners there. 1 and 2. And that should lift straight out. There we go. So now, if I'm not mistaken, this board, yep, just lifts right off. So we're completely loose. Couple things kind of holding it in are that, which I'm guessing is the antenna for Bluetooth or Wi-Fi, and then this speaker. So out we come, and that is the circuit board for 2DS. Flip it over and we have the capacitive or conductive pads, sorry, that control the buttons on the side. And these ribbon connectors look like I'm not exactly sure what they control. So this is the power button right down here. So the power switch must run up through these connectors as well. So I'm willing to bet this is part of the reason why it doesn't work. So what I want to do is just try swap this whole component. So I'm going to take my liquid damaged one and just see maybe I can use, maybe this part is not damaged enough that I can just swap them. So I'm going to disassemble the other one and see if it's possible. Alright, so I have removed everything from the liquid damaged board, or I've removed the liquid damaged board from the housing. And underneath it doesn't look too bad. There's not a lot of, there's a little bit of residue along the sides here of what looks like Coke or something. But other than that, it's not too bad. So this may work still. Couple of things I want to do is clean up these ribbon connectors here at the bottom before I actually install them anywhere. So in order to do that, it's pretty simple. I take a Q-tip, I take some rubbing alcohol, and I just rub the inside of them with the Q-tip. So kind of just like that. Try and get off anything that might be building up that will make it difficult to get a solid connection. Same with here. I'm gonna rub these contacts so that we're getting a solid power connection. And hopefully this one will work. I just want to see where that power switch goes. So on the board, the button's actually built right on. It's not part of one of those connectors. So, but the LED is. No, the LED is here. So I'm not actually sure what is causing this not to work. One thing I'm going to try right now is plug it in. So it's plugged in. The LEDs aren't going off. If I hold down the power button, see if anything happens. Nothing. So the LEDs are right here. They're kind of difficult to see, but they will light up when you're getting power through them. So I mean, that tells me that it could just be that this is a bad board, that none of this is going to help either. So I'm going to try a couple of things. First thing I want to do is make sure I'm getting power out of here. So I'm going to use my multimeter. So just to give you an example, there's the multimeter. It's on voltage, and if I run across this, I should get probably 5 volts. And I'm not getting anything. So I wonder if just this power cord is no good. Okay, the other thing I want to check is the power fuse. So we'll disconnect power from it. And the power fuse is very small, but it's right here, and it's marked F1. So I don't know how much more we can zoom in on this. But let's put it to continuity mode, and it should beep if you have continuity. So touch, and that's continuity. So one on one side of the fuse, one on the other. And we have continuity. So the fuse is good. I wonder if maybe there's an issue with this charging port. I know that my cord works, but let's... Well, you know what? These are just grounds that I'm touching. That's why I'm not getting anything. So I need to find somewhere on the board that I can actually pull 5 volts from. So I'll be back in a moment and we can check that out. Okay, so where I'm going to look for, there's 2 pins on the inside of the charging port, and I'm going to just touch those. As soon as I do, you can see I get 5 volts. So the charging port works fine. I guess where I need to go now is throughout the circuit and find out if there's something here that's preventing the power switch from working. So the power switch being right here, I wonder if I get any voltage reading off of that. So I don't know if there's anywhere really I can get in here to find. Well, I get 2 volts. You can't see that on the thing, but yep. So 2 volts through the power switch, which is probably sufficient. All it needs to do is switch the power on and off. So this will require a little bit more digging to figure out what the problem is with no power. So I think what I'm going to do, rather than just digging around this whole board that I'm not going to be able to fix, I'm just going to put it in the shell with the good ribbon connectors and see what happens here. Okay, so I've installed the original board in the water damage casing, which has the good condition ribbon connectors, and I just want to see if it's possible that this ribbon connector is what's causing the problem. So what I'm going to do here, I'm just going to put this back cover just gently into place, just so that it can hold the battery properly. We're going to insert a battery, flip it over, and plug it in. And fingers crossed that this actually might work. Probably not. Power on, and power in. And again, I'm not getting any LED action from the charge. Nope. So, I'm not sure what else there is that I can try and fix on this. Let's try the other battery. Other battery plugged in, still nothing. Power, nothing. So I'm still getting no power to this, not able to power it on, not able to charge a battery. I think I'm going to leave this plugged in for a little bit and see, maybe it's kind of like a cell phone. It needs a few minutes in order to actually recognize a charge. So I'm going to leave that on for a few and see what we get. So I'll leave that sitting there. I'll be back in maybe 5 or 10 minutes. Well, 10 minutes later and still nothing. No light, no nothing. So I'm unfortunately kind of at a loss as to if this is repairable or if there's anything I can do to fix it. It's possible more was damaged when that shielding came loose and I just can't see it. But yeah, I don't really know where else to go from this. So I'm going to leave this video at this point. If anyone happens to have experience with this and knows something I should check, feel free, send me a message, leave me a comment, let me know, and I'd be happy to do so. And if I'm able to get this any further, I'll definitely make a second video, but this particular video I'd say was not a success, unfortunately. So Thanks a lot for watching. Like I said, if you know something I should check out on this, please let me know. Send me a message, leave a comment, and I'll see if there's something I can do to try and get this going. Otherwise, thanks for watching, and be sure to check out some of my other videos as I try and tackle some of those other items that I've received in the mail recently. So thanks a lot, and we'll see you next time.